Well, that was something. What's going on, Templars? Welcome to the live stream. You guys knew this was coming. You guys actually asked for it via email, is the lies I tell myself. There's lots of lies I tell myself. Like, this lamp doesn't at all clash with the color of the backdrop. No, doesn't at all. Don't worry. Guys, welcome to the live stream. We're here. You guys can follow us on all the major platforms, and we're talking with my good friend. I'm going to bring him in the room in a second. I know I can't believe he's my friend either, but hey, when you write a lot of checks, things happen. In this case, checks for $1. What is up, room? I like it. You guys know the deal. This is how it works. You guys can send in messages. Judah's over here on my left-hand side. He's monitoring the chat. You want to write a question in to ask my friend directly, go ahead and do it, but I'm not going to waste any time because I don't want to keep him. This guy is busy, and he's handsome as all hell with my water bottle filled with vodka. Let's bring him into the room with our sexy transition. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Eiding, avid beard enthusiast. Paul, how the hell you doing, bro?
All is well, man. Always, it's great to hear from you.
Oh, man, it's, you're one of the, man, I can't believe it. I wish you were here in person so I could hug you like we did last time, but, man.
How long has that been? It's been, what, 2 years already?
It's been 2 years, 6 days, and 18 hours and 3 minutes because there's a chart on my wall at home where somebody spoke to me.
But who's counting?
Yes, yes. Man, what's going on? I see a ukulele behind you. I see a box for Transformers. I see The Incredibles. And I see a handsome devil in a blue sexy shirt or chair.
Yeah. Oh, this is my Guild Wars.
Guild Wars. Guild
Wars. Yeah. When fans send me stuff, I wear it. Simple as that. Yeah, I got that's my baritone uke. I got a couple of tenor ukes up there. I don't shred, but I can chord.
That's amazing. Templars, for anybody that doesn't know, Mr. Eiding, as I call him. Actually, in my house, we call you the Colonel. That's anytime I talk to Janelle, we call the Colonel. She's like, how's the Colonel doing? She always asks me randomly. And people always look at us like, you guys know people in the military? We're like, we know the dude in the military. His name is the Colonel. He is a famous actor, stage actor, voice actor. And here's the plot twist. Crazy trained musician, I remember, because you went to school for music, and that was a huge plot twist. But if you don't mind, for everybody watching, what's some of the stuff you've done? Could you give us a rundown?
Oh, well, I've worked in my garden, and I've done some painting around the house. Other than that, no, like you said, I'm an actor. I've never considered myself, honestly, a voice actor, because voice actors, some of the guys that I know who are wonderful voice actors, that's all they've ever done. They've come from radio or whatever, and they've become voice actors. I was a stage actor, still do film and TV, and a lot of folks know me from animation. Done a lot of like things like Ben 10. I was Grandpa Max on Ben 10 for 10 years. Lots of Hanna-Barbera cartoons, that sort of Saturday morning stuff. But I'm better known lately for the video games. Games like Metal Gear Solid, Colonel Campbell, for Fallout 3, Fallout 4. It's hard to remember. There are times when I have to get out my IMDb because I don't remember all the games, which is a good thing, very good thing. I've done a lot of Pixar movies. The last one that I worked on was The Incredibles 2, where I played Reflux. He's the little guy who looks like me, kind of round-bellied and older. There's name's Reflux, medical condition or superpower. You be the judge. He's the guy who vomits lava. And also the voice of Perceptor in Generation 1 Transformers, back before any of your viewers were born. We started in 85, 86.
Wow.
Yeah, we're coming up on the 35th anniversary of the movie. which tells
Wow.
you, yeah, that's what I say. Wow. I'm glad I was one of the younger ones of the group, because a lot of the guys are gone now. So, that kind of stuff. I'm still doing doing stage. I was doing Shakespeare when I started growing out my beard, and the pandemic hit, and we closed after 2 weeks, which is kind of a drag, having to memorize all those Shakespearean lines, and then having to let them all go. You know,
Although it makes for
but
fun working in your garden if you talk to the tomatoes that way.
it's true, forsooth. Uh, uh, yeah. Other than that, all is well. I don't know what else to tell you. I did start out musically. I was a my dream was to play with the Cleveland Orchestra. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I was a instrumentalist bass player. Started out upright and then moved to electric, and then started playing with guys who were way, way too good for me, and came to my senses and said, I can act like I'm a bass player, but maybe I should just be an actor. Uh, and then that's when I transitioned, doing improv and things like that. And they haven't caught on. People still hire me.
They haven't got on.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
they don't realize I'm a fake.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness. I my thing, selfishly speaking, here was I discovered you. I would say from Metal Gear Solid. That game has a huge point in my life because it was the bonding thing from my uncle and I. He would call me because he could never beat Liquid Snake on top of Metal Gear, the fight thing, and I was a big fight video game guy. So he literally called me at 11 o'clock on a school night. Because I must have been in grade 9 or something. And he said, look, yeah, I've been playing this game for like a week and I can't beat this freaking guy. And then I eventually got the game myself, which was, guys, if you haven't played Metal Gear Solid, it basically changed the game. No pun intended. I mean, slightly pun intended. I had no idea years later, because years later, Without Mercy was doing a thing. And I had reached out to you via, I think, online or whatever, and had just said, if you'd be interested, could you help me with some promos, pretty please? And you actually responded. So basically, I changed my pants, and then went about the day. And Janelle would tell you the story of I was like a little kid all over again in my late 20s, going. And then he said, yeah. And then he called me, and he was like, hey, DJ, how are you? And she's like, hey, settle down, eat your vegetables, which is hilarious because that's a real thing she says, as all wives do. But I
listen,
wanted.
my feeling has always been that we're in this whole thing together. You know, well, we're in life together.
Yeah.
We need each other. We through everything. I don't want to get all too deep into it, but especially with what I do as a performer. Same thing with music. Musicians, you can be the greatest musician in the world, and you ain't bad, brother, in your living room.
Mm.
But if no one hears you, no one responds, if you're not touching anybody emotionally, then what's it all about? For me, to have someone who loves the work that I do, and I'm lucky enough to be involved in something like Metal Gear, and they reach out, I'm nothing without the fans. None of us are. Actors are nothing without the audience.
Yeah.
It really is a give and take sort of thing. You're a performer.
Yeah.
And
Like, if you don't mind me saying, I think that's the sign of just honestly how humble you are, because there's a say in my world, like the heavy metal angry stuff or whatever. We have a general colloquialism, which is we register people as Dimebag Nice, which is Dimebag is a famous guitar player from a band called Pantera. He was super known for a couple of things: crazy guitar work, crazy shred, all of that stuff. And I might have lost your audio, Paul. 1 second, my friend. Judah, did we lose the audio?
I'm not talking.
Oh no, never mind. Sorry. There we go. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
He's known for crazy shred, crazy partying, and then how ridiculously kind he was as a human being. And like stupid kind. He's famous for pulling Dave Grohl off to the side at a party and said, "Hey, dude, I really like your band, the Foo Fighters. I think you're going to do really good. One thing I want to tell you." And Dave Grohl said he went deadpan, and he's like, "Don't be a prick. You don't get the right to be a prick." And Dave Grohl, I'm paraphrasing here, but Dave Grohl said something like when Dimebag freaking looks at you, biggest guitar player in the world at that point. And it's like,
Right.
Don't be a prick, you don't get to deserve it. That, and like we often describe you in my house and to my friends as you are Dimebag nice, Paul.
Oh, that's really kind. Now, see, in my day, Dimebag meant something entirely different. Uh, but I know Dimebag. When I was playing way back when, in the 60s and the early 70s, yeah, Dimebag was something else.
Hi kids. Yeah. That's amazing. I know some questions coming in, guys. Please just ask anything through the chat. We'll get it to you. I just want to see if there's. And most people are just laughing at how much fun we're having right now. So somebody says they've seen you in Incredibles 2. And for the most part, they're loving your title as beard enthusiast, which is.
I'm a pretty good-looking guy in Incredibles too. Yeah, and I made the video. They made a game. What is it? They did a spin-off game, and my character got to be in it, and I got to be a good guy and a bad guy. Oh shoot, I forget. It was the little plastic pieces that get put together. Oh God, never mind.
Action figures? I don't know.
No, I am an action figure too.
Lego?
Yeah, the Lego movie. There was a Lego, not a Lego movie, but the Lego game. Why they did a Lego game, I have no idea, but I'm in that. So it's like, and I am an action figure, but my action figure just stands there, and there's a stream of yellow and red goo coming out of my mouth. I get to do the classy ones. another toy. Listen, it's really cool to be a toy. And another toy that's out there is from a cartoon I did years ago called The Toxic Crusaders. And I was a character called No Zone. And No Zone, we had to say twice in every episode. It literally, it was written in. We had to say twice in every episode. One of the characters had to say, "We are hideously deformed creatures of superhuman size and strength." My character was No Zone, who had been in a test pilot who flew through a hole in the ozone and crashed into a vat of radioactive pepper. And so what happened was, one of his legs became fused with one of the tires on his vehicle, and his nose was huge. So everything he did was he talked like this. And his superpower was sneezing.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Of course it was.
And the toy was No Zone standing there, and he had holes in his nose, this monstrous nose, and you put green slime in the back of his head so it would come out of his nose. Again, Mr. Class, that's me.
That reminds me of the old He-Man toy with Castle Grayskull, and you could slime everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was me.
Oh, man.
Seriously, it just hit me that I also did in The Tick. I played a character called, Gesund, Dr. Gesundheisen or something like that. And he's another one. I'm just now putting this together. That bodily functions are one of my strong points.
Ah, this is a classy interview, everyone.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh man, I remember the Tick. That my favorite line from Tick is the episode when he's trying. And actually, to the end point, I had this one friend I called Sugar Tits. That was just his name. I would always call him no matter where we were. It was really fun at religious parties. But
Yeah, I bet.
but he would he went finding the single episode on DVD of that season for me. The favorite one I had was when the premise is something he's trying to Tick and Arthur are trying to discover a war cry of some kind. And they settle on just yelling spoon for no reason.
Oh, right. Spoon.
And it's just Janelle, who lives vicariously through knowing you. She absolutely loves playing this game in our house where we go find the Colonel. Which, hang on, don't be dirty, guys. Don't be dirty. But like Janelle does this find the Colonel where we've been watching like ER or something, and there you are. You're in an episode of ER randomly, or was it Grey's Anatomy or was it ER?
Grey's Anatomy. I've been in both.
Oh, well, there you go.
Grey's Anatomy was the newest, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm such a nerd that I remember it was an episode involving that you did something with the Christmas lights and they had hurt your hands or something.
That was ER.
That was ER. See, guys,
Yeah,
see.
ER. That was where I got burned across the chest, my face. I wanted to. I was just a nice guy who wanted to bring Christmas cheer to the neighborhood, and the power company wouldn't give me more power, so I tried to hook in myself to the power lines and fried myself. My favorite line from that is they said, well, we're going to run a strip and check your heart to make sure everything's okay. And I say, what can the machine tell you about a broken heart?
Oh.
He was just a nice guy, you know?
When you just said that, I just got a shattered memory of how emotionally distraught I was. I'm just going to go full nerd here, everyone. Emotionally distraught I was when you thought Meryl was dead. And you said to Snake, I'm sorry, Snake, I don't want to put this all on you, but you're all I've got left. And I remember being like, oh, no. No. Yeah. It was good, man.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. Well, a lot to Metal Gear that people just, you can play the game and listen to it, watch those cutscenes over and over again and get more and more and more out of them. I got to tell you real quickly, I just did a cameo for a fella. He got it for his brother, which I thought was very cool. The both of them had played Metal Gear, but he said one of the problems that they had was his brother would get him get the Colonel confused with Lambert from Colonel Lambert from what is it? Tom Clancy.
Oh.
The Cell, something.
Splinter Cell?
Splinter Cell, yeah. And I knew enough about Splinter Cell, so when I did the cameo, he said, if you want to give him a hard time about it, feel free. So in the cameo, I'm doing it as the Colonel. I've got the beret on and everything. And I said, okay, listen. I said, all right, this is Colonel Roy Campbell here, not Lambert. Seriously, Irving Lambert? How do you get me confused with Irving Lambert? Lambert lied to Sam, told Sam his daughter was dead. Now, I would never do that to Snake, to a friend of mine, well, unless it was something that was really important, like saving the world. Anyway, and I just got a report back from the guy. He said it couldn't have been better. He at first thought you were serious, and then realized that you were joking with him. So it's those kinds of things are really fun to do.
I bet. Mr. Wright on our live stream here is actually asking a question. Mr. Wright would like to know if you truly like acting, or is it better to be immortalized in a video game franchise?
Oh, immortalized? Oh, that's. Whew. I'm an actor. I started out stage. Stage is still where truly my center is. I go back to stage to regenerate, to remind myself why I became an actor. It wasn't for money, that's for darn sure. It wasn't for fame. It wasn't for anything else. It was to try and share something with someone else, to make someone feel something. And the fact that it happens in video games and animation, uh, how lucky can I be? You know, uh, immortalized. It's pretty cool. I appreciate that, but bottom line, I'm an actor. You know, one of the things I love about doing conventions is actually meeting people who have seen my work or heard my work. That's one of the things I love about stage is the audience is there. You know immediately that you're making some sort of an impact, whether it's negative, positive, whatever. And it takes so long when you do a video or a film or a game to get that feedback. It's faster now because thanks to social media. There was a time when you do a film and you wouldn't know for 2 years what kind of whether it was good or bad or how people felt about it. And also, stage is the actor's medium. Film and TV, that's more the directors and the editors. They can make you look good if if they make all the cuts exactly right, or they can make you look pretty bad if they leave you holding a look too long. Video games and animation, I really love because I can be anything. I can be 6'4". I can be a troll. I can be a giant. I can be a little superhero, you know? So I guess I'm rambling now, but I love it all because I'm an actor.
Yeah, if I understood you correctly, forgive me for paraphrasing, but if I understood you correctly, it's that returning to stage refills your cup.
Yep.
It like gets the. I actually feel the same about teaching, because, like for me, I not to make this about me, but I studied music very abnormally because I didn't have the means to do the traditional music education at a college. Just frankly, it was my parents couldn't afford it and I couldn't afford it. So I had to go through a long-winded circuit of auditing the entire courses and making friends with some of the professors who taught me. Like I did the whole Berklee College of Music thing by going to Vegas to meet friends that had finished Berklee and getting their textbooks and getting help.
Oh, great.
But I always kind of thought that led from a place of passion and like wanting to do it instead of just having an endless credit card. And now when I get the chance to teach, like I teach Judah sometimes or any of my students, like getting a chance to teach with that level of understanding, but from that place of passion refills my cup. And that's, I can't believe I get to do it every day. And I wanted to know, is that what you feel like when you're crushing this Shakespearean thing of some sort? Are you just like, wow, this is my life?
Yeah, I love rehearsals because you're learning something. I had a conversation the other day with Helen Hunt. Helen Hunt, I was in class for on and off for 30 years with Gordon Hunt, who I met, who directed and cast everything at Hanna-Barbera back in the day. He's one of the best acting coaches, acting teachers that ever been around. He passed away, and his daughter Helen, Academy Award winner and nominee, Helen is teaching the class. And she sent me a note saying nice things. And I love staying in class because working in class with younger actors and helping each other grow is also really charging. I love going to universities and doing workshops master classes and things like that for exactly what you said. It their enthusiasm helps me, recharge
Yeah.
because and let me know why I did this in the first place, and that it's that passion that drives me, always has driven me, and I think I've always said anybody who has a passion for something, as long as it's not hurting someone else, um, and it's something it's giving back to the world, more power to them. I love I love being around people with a passion.
Yeah, I feel that's how we got along when we met. We seemed to click right away because both so individually so into what we do, and yeah, I remember like we talked when we met. We were supposed to just have a lunch. It turned into like a 3 hour freaking thing of
Yeah,
like I always just kind of looked at it as like a boat in the storm of the ocean, and sometimes you just totally lose your way because you're trying to pay your mortgage or like provide for family or whatever, and you're trying to remain true to your craft, but there's all these other head voices, especially in the entertainment industry. I know Without Mercy recently got signed, and it was supposed to be a really good thing, but instead what happens is a myriad of negativity comes in, and it's really hard to lose your way and not just remember why you're doing this in the first place. And
yeah,
it's hard. I like to try and lead with gratitude personally, but man, sometimes the voices, and that's what actually led to this whole channel. Frankly, Janelle just got sick of me talking about music. She's like, I don't care, DJ. I don't care. I'm like, oh, but that chord was wicked. No, I don't care, DJ. So I just started, and I've met these wonderful people who have named themselves the Templars, like Lena and James Bond and Mr. Wright and Steven and Judah and KB's in the chat right now. And the correct me if I'm wrong, everyone, but the summary seems to be, we like that you tell us why we like stuff. And that is refreshing to me because in my world it's just, oh, it's this chord voice to that chord voice. You like the dominant to a superimposed 7 or whatever. But they're like, oh, sure. but it refills the cup. I guess that's what I'm trying to get to. It refills the cup for sure.
that's the bottom line as far as it's whatever gives me that charge that reminds me
Yeah.
uh, I'm in I'm all in, you know. Um, Sometimes it's going to the conventions and meeting folks and uh, being surrounded by people who are in either Metal Gear garb or people who totally dress like characters from different video games or from animated animations. The anime fans, they're the craziest. Um, and I mean that in a good way because anime fans are the ones who are just so passionate about their anime. I've only done two anime. They're both by Miyazaki, um, which were wonderful. But I'm not of that world.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate their excitement, their enthusiasm, and their love for it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Miyazaki is a master. If you guys don't know, like, Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind, like, resume as long as my arm, and there's no shitty movies. They're all
Yeah,
unbelievable.
he's the master. He was
Unbelievable.
the master. Yeah.
I think we spoke about this at lunch that time, but I remember being, how old was I? I feel like I was 18 or 19 was the first time I saw Spirited Away, and it was the first one I ever saw. And I remember being 18 or 19 cognitively as a warm-blooded male, cognitively aware that I was like, this is the first movie I have ever seen when the female is the main character and doesn't require a man to like make all her problems go away. She solved her issues on her own. She got stronger on her own through her own like I guess journey. I don't want to give the movie away. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But like her own path of righteousness or path of tribulation was not predicated on finding a man, which is all I could see up to that point. And I remember thinking like, this is next level. This is
Yeah.
like, what a story.
Yeah, they're not simple stories. I mean, they're really they're involved and they're incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
And I loved working on it. I think my first Miyazaki, I have two daughters, and when they're 2 years apart. And I think our first one really was My Neighbor Totoro. Uh,
It's so
and it
good.
was they were yeah, they were the close to the same ages. They may have been a couple of 8 years older than the two sisters in My Neighbor Totoro. And I fell in love with him. Uh, and then when I got the opportunity through Pixar, John Lasseter got the rights to work on Spirited Away. I jumped at it. It's like, yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually leads to this other question being asked. Who do you, who? Because I feel we're both revering Mr. Miyazaki, and I wonder who this person is wondering who is like role models you looked up to when getting started, and even now, do you have any?
Getting started. Well, there are tons as far as actors are concerned. Um, some, you know, no longer around. Um, Remember, I started out stage actor, so there are a lot of those kinds of guys. Um, as far as, oh man, when I first moved out here to LA, I was raised on, Winnie the Pooh and Jetsons and all that kind of stuff. I remember listening to watching those when I was a kid. And before that, all the Chuck Jones animation, um, just ridiculously funny stuff that now you look back on, you realize, wow, they were really, really inappropriate. In today's eyes, my gosh, a lot of racist, sexist stuff happening in
Yeah.
those. Yikes. Um, but the work that was involved was wonderful work. And when I got out here and got to work at Hanna-Barbera, I got to work with people that I grew up listening to. Dawes Butler, who in his mid to late 70s was still doing the voice of Elroy on the Jetsons. And he did Boo Boo Bear and character after character from Hanna-Barbera. And Paul Winchell, who was the original voice in Winnie the Pooh of Tigger.
Oh.
And when I was very young, Paul Winchell was a ventriloquist, and his dummy was Jerry Mahoney. And he had his own TV show called The Paul Winchell Jerry Mahoney Show. And he had a couple of different characters that he did. And I found out, this is before I moved out here to LA, that Paul Winchell actually invented the first artificial heart. Yeah, because he'd worked on all this mechanics for his puppet, for his dummy. If you look him up, you'll see that he actually invented a mechanical heart. I don't know if it was ever used in a human being, but had like the prototype. This man who was making his living as a ventriloquist and then doing voiceover. And a little side note, it also slapped me in the face because when I got out here, I was new to town. I was auditioning for an animated series, and in walks Paul Winchell, auditioning for the same thing I'm auditioning for. And it was like, for me, it was like, wait a minute, why does this man have to audition? Uh, it's like, does no one know who he is? Um, so as far as being, what was the word that was used? The kind word about someone who is so well known in video games. Uh,
Immortalized.
yes, immortalized in video games. Uh, that person who's immortalized still has to audition just like everybody else does.
Wow.
Every once in a while, you'll get a call and say, "Hey, we'd like you to do this," but it definitely brings you back to earth really quickly when that happens. Um, and it's happened on more than one occasion. Guys that I was raised on watching and listening to are in there auditioning just like everybody else. It's like, you got to do what you got to do. It's the
Yeah.
business.
I mean, I think what's really cool is I'm kind of obsessed with that. Have you heard of this 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, so I want to draw a parallel that happened. So Paul grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and you moved to LA to pursue the acting. You
Hmm.
began working on Hanna-Barbera, and you began working on Winnie the Pooh, who has a
Okay.
character named Eeyore, who is voiced by Mr. Peter Cullen, who then went on to do Transformers, and you went on to do Transformers, and Peter Cullen is the voice of Optimus Prime. Did I get that right?
Correct. And also, one of my first, in fact, I just got a news article about it when I was still in Cleveland. My first job for money as a young actor that I actually got paid was to play. Ready for this? Eeyore in a children's production. I went on to do four or five other um, shows that summer with this company acting for. I think we performed for like 20,000 kids over the year. But yeah, so Eeyore was my first one.
I'm resisting the
Yeah,
urge to sing it, but Circle of Life. It's a circle.
right.
I have to tell you a funny story because I know you'll get a kick out of this as I feel like we know each other very well. I was probably 34 at this point in the story, which is very important. And Janelle and I go to the movies as we often do, and we're at the movies. And the commercial for the new Bumblebee movie came on or whatever. And I was like, I don't really care about it because I'm a little annoyed at the movies at this point. So I go to get snacks or whatever, and I'm walking back in. And Janelle tells the story of, you have to imagine DJ, 34-year-old man, walking up with all the snacks and the voiceover of Optimus going, Bumblebee. And she said, I stopped and I was like, and I turned right around and stared at it. And she's like, it was kind of adorable. I was like, you don't understand. Like when I was like 4, Optimus Prime was my hero. He taught me don't lie, don't steal those
Yeah,
cars, and freedom's the right of all sentient beings. Like it was Optimus Prime was the shit, dude. Like
yeah,
like that was the thing.
indeed. And I was the man. I was the character that made children cry. I don't know if I told you the story or not, but I was at a convention in San Antonio,
Okay.
and this military guy, sergeant, came up. He was helping set things up um, for the convention, and he came to me and he said, uh, I, I loved you as preceptor. And he said, but when I was, I guess I was 8 or 9 years old, you made me cry. And I said, what? He said, yeah. When Optimus is in there in the movie, and you said, and then I said the line, and I said, yes. I said, I feel the wounds are fatal. And
Oh yeah.
I swear to you, he teared up. He was, it took him right back to when he was 8 or 9 years old. And he said, yeah, because that had never happened before. They never killed the hero in a movie before, an animated film.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah. So, and he told me, yeah, you made me cry. It's like, oh, good.
Yeah, it's
I'm
good.
famous for making small children cry.
What year was that movie? Was it 89, 88?
86.
86, yeah. So I'm a little more than 3 years old in this. And I don't know if I told you this one, but my parents, they when they built their house, they had a recessed like family room area that they put the main TV in because my mom was a stay-at-home mom and she wanted to sit at the kitchen table doing whatever she did. And monitored what we watched growing up. It was a big thing in the 80s, like make sure your kids are watching like whatever, right? So she
Mm-hmm.
gets me this movie, and there I am Saturday morning. I'm sitting there in my pajama pants, holding my teddy bear, and you guys killed my hero.
Yeah.
And like you didn't just because Janelle and I recently rewatched it, and Janelle's like, "This movie's dark." Like the way they animate, like you killed a Transformer, like the life left their eyes and stuff. And
Yeah.
Optimus Prime goes gray, and like I start bawling, and I look up at my mom. It was one of the few times in my life my mom was speechless. She's like, they'll bring him back at the end of the movie. Oh my god! Which
Well, they killed a lot of them in that movie.
they did, but there's an urban myth about that movie, and I wonder if you know anything or if you've heard the urban myth. The urban myth was that the G.I. Joe movie was being developed at the similar time. And when they saw the effects of the Transformers movie, the original script of the G.I. Joe movie was that they were going to kill Sarge. But then when it comes out, he comes back at the end of the movie just wounded, but he's still alive kind of thing. And that was apparently because the Optimus Prime thing was like, I understand you're trying to bring Rodimus Prime into it, but dude, you killed Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Like, like what were you thinking? But
Well, they learned their lesson. That's why he's still around.
yeah, yeah. I mean, do you know Mr. Cullen, who I want to call Mr. because I respect him so much?
Yeah. We're not like best buds. We know each other because we work together and we've seen see each other at conventions. He is what you think he is. He's just a good human being.
Yeah.
He's just he's kind, and I think did he just turn 80?
Oh wow.
I think he just turned 80.
Wow.
I believe that's because I know he just had a birthday. But yeah, he's a terrific guy.
Yeah, I mean, really he's no Paul Eiding though, but we can all dream. We can all dream.
Yeah, right. And Paul Eiding is no Optimus Prime.
No, because he makes children cry.
There you go.
Oh
Listen,
my god.
In one of the Michael Bay movies, which I don't watch, but I heard about one that Optimus, he was fighting. I forget who he was fighting, but the Decepticon was down and he still killed him. And there was a big uproar that no, Optimus would not do that.
Yeah.
How dare you? Well, and people want to get me into this thing about hating the Bay movies and loving the original. The Bay movies are what they are. I don't consider them true Transformer movies, but they are what they are, and people love them. So it's like more power to them.
Yeah, I think people...
I love the Bumblebee movie.
Yeah, okay, I haven't seen it yet. I
really, there was an old feel to it. There's a lot more heart in it, and that one I really liked a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's worth seeing.
My bandmates, I wish they were here because they would get you to beg me to stop. But one of our biggest tours, we went across the country. We did like 28 shows in 30 days. It was just insane. And every night to help me fall asleep, I needed some white noise because different time zones and everything's getting hectic. So I would consistently watch the beginning of the first Michael Bay movie because it starts with Mr. Cullen going, "Before time began." And like my poor bandmates are like, "I have heard that bloody thing like 600 times, dude. Can you like let it play like it?" And my drummer, not my drummer, but the drummer in our group, Matt Healy, we call him Healy. He had described it as, that phrase that goes dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Right. So he's like, it's like someone goes dun 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 and never finishes it.
Nothing.
Never. So,
Uncle.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Hey, dude, we're good, bro." Oh man, I have an odd question, if you'll indulge me.
Yeah.
Of all the work that you've done, I'm getting the vibe from you that you're very, very proud of a lot of your work, if not all of it, and as you should be, of course. But I wonder, is there a key thing that you're more proud of? And I don't mean in like, yes, Metal Gear was more fun than... I think you're even in God of War's Gravedigger. I even saw that one day. I'm doing this to Judah because he's currently playing through God of War for the first time ever in his life. And I'm like, he's in God of War, bro. So I'm curious if there's a moment in something that inspires a memory that you're most proud of. Not necessarily a scope of work, but hey, when I recorded this line, I remembered this thing, or I had a hand in writing something, or I'm curious if there's that.
Yeah, well, there. I'll just say that the first thing that comes to mind is the last thing I did. Well, not the last video thing I've done, the last thing I filmed, and it was during the pandemic. And it's something that I'm the most proud of right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm not. I look at some of my work, not my voice work necessarily, but the on-camera stuff. I look at some of the old stuff and say, "Wow, someone teach that man to act." Um, so send help. Uh, there are some pieces that I'm really proud of. I there's a piece in that I did an episode of Providence years ago where I played a. It was a Halloween episode called "Things That Go Something in the Night," where I played a man who tells them that he needs blood, and if he doesn't get the blood, if he doesn't get blood to drink, that he's going to die by midnight. And he's not trying to be scary, but he's just telling them that's what he needs, and that he had a friend who could used to get him blood because he worked at a funeral home, and it's he's a very sweet character, and I won't tell you what happens in the show, but it's a really lovely character that I enjoyed working on, and it was a fun show to do. But what I did during the pandemic is a short film. It's making the festival circuit right now, and was accepted into a couple now that are Academy Award qualified. What you can't get into the Academy Awards without getting into these particular festivals, and it's been accepted. It was written and directed by the head of animation at DreamWorks,
Whoa.
and this is live action, and it's me and a puppet who is my partner for 40 years. And it's a conversation between me and my puppet, explaining to him that some changes are coming. I don't want to give anything away. There is a little girl, my granddaughter is in the very beginning, first minute of it, then goes away and comes in at the very end. So it's the two of us. And the fellow who handled the Muppet, who's Emmett, I'm Frank. And Emmett is operated by two guys who work with Jim Henson's, the Muppet People. And it is actually an homage of sorts to those guys to Jim Henson and the Muppeteers,
Wow.
the older guys that have been around forever. And that's when I grew my beard out for the Shakespeare. And over the next few months, we rehearsed on Zoom, and I just kept letting the beard grow longer and longer. So it's pretty crazy. And I can't wait for people to see it, because it's something that I am really, really proud of. And it's just a 12-minute film, but I think it's beautifully written. And everyone, even some hardcore people in my family, everyone who's seen it's made them laugh, and it's brought them tears. So it's in a 12-minute film to be able to do that. They've done something right. So that's what I'm really proud of, you know.
I think I've seen some like screenshots of it or something.
Yeah,
And
they're on my page and yeah,
I'm pretty damn
Instagram.
excited to watch it myself. Even the way it was the one I'm just gonna, for lack of a better term, call it the promo shot.
Yeah,
But the promo shot is lit so well that it inspired something in me to be like, this is going to be emotional. This is going to be a real like thing.
yeah, they did a beautiful job, and we did it during pandemic. The COVID protocols were really handled well. They had a person in charge of making sure that everybody, every time they walked anywhere, you had to have a mask on. No one was allowed into the room where we were filming unless they were absolutely necessary. And we all had to be masked until it was time to take them off.
Right.
And you walk into the bathroom, you had to use um, uh, sanitizer. When you walk out, use the sanitizer. You walk into any room, she had it everywhere. And she was on top of it. So she wanted to make sure that nobody got sick, and nobody did. It was just,
I,
it was,
I
it was, I'm sorry.
I love it. I love it. So we just had a malfunction with the camera here out of nowhere. So we're just working to fix it. Excuse me, as always. This is what editing is for.
Absolutely.
But I'm a sucker for anytime something gets actually decent artistic stuff. I'm trying to, like you, I'm trying to avoid saying like, oh, I hate this band or I hate this thing or I'm not a fan of this or whatever. My big thing was honesty artistically. That was the biggest thing. I've always been like, oh, like Pantera was a big thing for me. I like the original Slipknot album, not the original, but the album Iowa. These are honest records. So
Yeah.
anytime I see an art form, and I'm hesitant to say this because it's slight controversial, so I apologize in advance. Because true Canadians, we apologize for waking up every day. But our big thing was that I talked with Janelle about is I do not care about subject matter. I don't care. What I care about is honesty, transparency, and authentic art. And if I may say, that's what everything I've loved about what you've done is it's even if you are just, for lack of a better term, a guy digging a grave while Kratos is running by. There's still a certain level of honesty to it that's what I think I'm gravitating towards, and that I cannot wait. Frank and Emmett, it's called. I can't wait to see Frank and Emmett because I'll go at it like that. Even though I consider you a good friend of mine, I'm going to go at it and be like, all right, impress me. but
Please do.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you
you
should.
know what? What's interesting is that's what you just said is I think one of the things I love about Frank and Emmett
Oh,
is that it not just that it was the writer director was all about um, being honest and being really in love with what he's the subject matter. Um, but I think that's what hopefully I've always been about.
mm-hmm.
You know, just trying as far as being an actor. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Who is it? George Burns once said when he got his Academy Award, the most important thing about acting is honesty. And once you learn how to fake that, you got it made.
Well, that's a great one. Dare I say a quote that's always inspired me? Well, at least lately, it's been in order to be open, in order to think, you have to risk being offensive.
Yeah.
And that's
someone asked me when I was telling them about you and the group Without Mercy, and they said, "Are you really you listen to a lot of that music?" I said, "No, I don't, but how did I forget how I put it? I said, good music is good music. I don't care what it's basically what you're saying. I don't care what it's about. You know, if there's heart, if there's something, if they're not trying to play with me or play at me, then I'm in. you know, let me if I have to grab a hold of the side of the train as it's zooming by, and there's somebody there to grab my arm and pull me along. It's like I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. Take me for a ride.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's that's what my old band teacher, Mr. Ward, said was music needs to make you feel something. It has to. Love it or hate it. But
yeah.
if you hate it, it made you feel something.
Yep.
And that's
I went. We did a. There was a big unveiling of the big reveal of the latest Transformers toy, which was the Unicron.
oh wow.
Which it's about 3 feet high, 3.5 feet high, and there was a big reveal at a bar restaurant down in San Diego, and they asked if I would come down, so I did, and there was a metal band playing, and they were handing out. The bar was handing out earplugs for everybody, um, which was great. And I remember they were playing, and I thought they were terrific. And one of the reasons I knew they were really good is because my shirt was vibrating against my body.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, 'cause, somebody said, "Isn't it kind of loud, isn't it?" I said, "Well, I'm not here to talk to you.
Yeah.
That's not what this is about right now. It's about this right now."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm not kidding you. My clothes were vibrating. It was like, yeah, okay, I'm on the road. Let's go for it. And they were really good.
Yeah.
Now, could my ears handle it regularly? Nah, probably not. But
It's a refined palette. I often find myself listening to crazy bands like Cattle Decapitation or Infant Annihilator's another one, which is not for everyone.
yeah,
But it calms me down, which seems counter to everything else. And my big thing was I grew up, and I mean, I'm not from a troubled neighborhood or anything, but we all have things as you're going through puberty and transcending to adulthood. In high school, I didn't fit in because I was told the skinny ginger kid with freckles that's in the band room, shouldn't be allowed to eat lunch over here by the lockers. And at the time, that was devastating to me. But now I'm like,
yeah.
oh, okay, I'll go eat with the teachers, you losers. But I fell in love with Pantera because the lyrical content was the external voice that represented what I needed someone to say to me.
Gotcha.
Now the vocalist was singing. There's a song called 25 Years that was like about him being 25 and returning home finally to deal with his abusive stepdad. He's like, because like now I'm a man, now good luck kind of thing. Now I took those lyrics and was like, yeah, that's my bullies at school. Like I don't have to put up with your shit. I don't have to deal with any of this. Which is, and then Pantera, who became one of the biggest metal bands of all time, started getting bullied by the entertainment industry. If you can believe that. They're the biggest playing stadiums. Hundreds of thousands of people see these people per week. Like, come on. And arguably greatest musicians. And I'm going off on a rant to bring this around, guys. You're going to love this.
No.
I promise. This is what Paul and I talk about. This is crazy.
Yeah.
But Pantera was getting bullied because they're not following the boy band trends. They're not writing the 1-5-6-4 chord progression. They're not singing about bubblegum crap, and they're getting more and more aggressive in flannel and jeans. And Dimebag is in that band, and he's just like, I don't give a flying fuck. He doesn't care, big old Texas accent. But they had this line, which was, it was like this huge chord would just ring. And the singer just said, it wasn't even recorded properly. He just did it on a whim. He went, the smell in the air is chicken shit. And I remember being like, yeah, it is, because everybody's telling you not to keep doing what you're doing that's sold records for 20 years. Or that you're not good musicians because you scream instead of singing. Or Dimebag's not playing shred guitar, he's just playing Dimebag guitar. And that is why Without Mercy put on the back of our shirt, "You smell like a bitch,"
You smell like a bitch.
which was us saying, stop telling us to go play that club for free, or sell this many tickets, or share our CD with another band's CD, because then that band will like our band. It's just ridiculous nonsense. Or my personal favorite, "How dare you ask me to pay you to play?"
Yeah, right.
Like what? What? We just drove to the other side of the country, and you're saying I need to do it for exposure?
Yeah.
Like,
I got your exposure right here, okay?
yeah, exactly. And thus became "You Smell Like a Bitch," which was huge on the back of the t-shirt. It was like this big. Uh-oh, Paul's digging for something. He's got it. Oh, man. Yes. Yes.
I still have mine. I told you my story, didn't I?
You've told mine, but please tell everyone. You told me.
So there's a club that each night they have a different different types of music. One night will be country western, then they'll have Motown, then they'll have oldies, and they'll have what else would they have? Well, they'd have metal. Okay, and I forget what is. They may have a couple of nights of oldies or whatever. So I went. A friend of mine has got a metal band, and I went to hear them play. And I was there by myself, and I had a jacket on with this T-shirt underneath the jacket, and the guy at the door said, the bouncer or whatever at the door said, I'm sorry, I think you're here on the wrong night. I said, what? He said, well, Motown is on this night and oldies is on this night. And I just looked at him, and I took off my jacket, and he saw that. And then I turned around and he said that. And he said, oh man, I'm sorry. Come on in. It was like, yeah, don't make assumptions, okay?
Oh, it's so good.
I just loved it. And I was wearing it in your honor.
Yeah. That's why we're friends, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, you got one night is the oldest. You got this metal. What is it? Is that like a medal? Are they military? Oh no, different kind of metal.
Yeah. No, their instruments are made out of aluminum.
Yeah. Pots and pans and oh God. Anyway.
Oh man. Well, my friend, I could talk to you for 3 hours as we've established before, but perhaps we should stop there for the time being.
I have rehearsal right now, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
With my scene partner for this acting group. You might have heard of her father. She had her own band that she's traveled around the world with. Her name is Calico Cooper, and her dad is Alice Cooper. And she is, number one, best of all, she's just a great human being. And she's also a wonderful actor. So we're working on this scene for a class that we may, once the pandemic ends, we may end up trying to put it on stage.
Okay.
The piece. So I'll keep you posted.
Okay. On that note, my friend, I mean this with all honesty and sincerity. My life is much better for having known you. And
two-way street. It's a two-way street.
I just thank you guys for joining us for this, but Paul is a damn sweetheart, and this is just all predicated on talking with my friends. So I'm truly grateful you're in my cell phone under friend, and thanks so much for joining me today.
A pleasure, my friend. Be well. Love to your better half.
Yes, yes, and solid 80% better half. Yes. 100%. Yeah. Without her, I am nothing. Dear, I've said that now live You can use that to make me do the dishes tonight. There we go.
All right, dude.
All right.
Be well.
You as well, my friend. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Guys, this has been my friend Paul on the live stream. I must say, I have known him for a while, but I still gush a bit that we're friends. He's a pretty crazy human being. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this. This is what it's like. Thanks for sending your questions in. We kind of went off on a rant talking because we're friends, and that's what friends do. Templars, I will see you Monday for the live stream. We can talk more about it. And start emailing me. Who do you want me to bring in next, everyone? I love you all so much. Be well, have fun, and watch it go.